Hey guys, Scott here. After having played on the PTB now, I've played Trickster and I've played on the new map. I want to finally give my thoughts on that new content. And let's start with the good stuff. Trickster's Delusion, the new map, and I'll double down on saying this from the last time I said it. It is by far the most gorgeous map in Dead by Daylight. It almost looks like it's not even like part of the game. It, in fact, looks so good that it actually kind of makes every other map in DBD look kind of like shit. That's how actually good it is. Compared to, God, the last map we got was Fallen Refuge. It's not even the same video game. Like, it's not even just the actual, just visual aesthetics of it, but it's the attention to detail. Like, you can go in every one of these rooms, and it's a unique room with different things inside of it. Like there's a music store with a drum set and guitars. There's like a laundry place. There's like little shops like this. Like they have so many unique rooms in this map that I can't imagine how much time it took to make this. Like genuinely, it's the level of detail in this map is absolutely insane. Like, it's just so good to the point where I just kind of wanted to just walk around and just look at it. There's a bunch of cool little Easter eggs, too. Fucking body fell from a roof and scared the shit out of me one of these games. There's, like, a garage door that can close, and I think you can hear, like, Yoon Jin screaming. I'm not sure who it is, but it's just cool. Just genuinely a fucking cool map. Really, really awesome. That's how it is aesthetically. Playing on it, not so much a wonderful experience, in my opinion. Now, I think I'm a little biased here because I only played Trickster on this map. Obviously, I wanted to test Trickster, so I only played Trickster. And this map as a 110 killer, not so good. It is not a fun time at all. This room I'm in particular is something I called that there was going to be an issue with this. So this whole mosh pit section, it needs like a scaffolding across the mosh pit or something, because you can pre-run so early in this building. It's like the RPD staircase where you have to rotate around it and just look at the person over and over again as you're chasing them for 30 seconds before you actually physically get in range. And that sucks, especially as a 110 killer. Doing this as Trickster, it was awful. So many times during the stream, I had to just hold forward for literally half a minute before I got in range to actually start throwing knives at somebody. And it was just the perfect example of uninteractive hold W gameplay. It was just not fun at all. So main building needs like a hole punched in it or some scaffolding across the mosh pit, something like that. There's also a couple of window setups on this map that are absurdly busted, genuine infinites because you lose chase, at least as a 110 killer. Like I said, I'm pretty sure as a 115 killer, I wouldn't have lost chase and it would have been not fine. It's still a triple vault entity blocker type thing. But the problem is there's this structure that's connected right next to Shack, and it's got this window that's so strong you basically have to vault it. It's a god window, and it has line of sight breakers for you to lose chase. So it's so absurdly strong, and it's connected to Shack too. So that was terrible. There's also like 3 complete god pallets obstructing the street that you cannot do anything about. You must break them, which, you know, I think every map having a couple god pallets is fine. I'm not really, you know, I don't have a huge problem with that. There's also a giant Haddonfield wall in the market area in the bottom left right here. And then there is some claustrophobia issues in the bottom right. Basically, it's got the claustrophobia of Larry's in that particular section. Now, it's not as bad because the entire map is not that, so I would definitely rather play on this map than like Larry's or Hawkins or something. That's an absolute no-brainer, but having played Trickster on this map, yeah, this map is not good for Trickster at all. There is a lot of holding W with line of sight obstructions that makes it so you have to sniff the ass of the person you're throwing knives at. It's never fun to play Trickster, and the main play you have to make is just throwing knives at them 1 foot away from them. That's not fun or engaging or anything like that. So a lot of these indoor sections make it so you kind of have to do that, and especially with how Trickster has been basically nerfed with his movement speed, yeah, it just makes for a not very good experience. But like I said, playing different killers on this map, any killer that's got movement or teleportation would render, for example, the main building not a huge deal. Like if I'm Wraith, I can just, you know, sneak up on them or just cut them off as they're trying to run around there, or Hag can lay traps around there, or Knight can pincer attack, or, you know, like a lot of killers do have an answer for that, but the killers that don't, the basic M1 killers, who are usually the weakest killers, have no answer for it. So it's one of those scenarios where the weakest killers are nerfed and the strong killers with movement abilities are going to be just fine. So we hate to see that. That's not ever really a good thing. Now let's move on to Trickster himself. I think the Trickster update is just not good. I think he is actually genuinely weaker than before. He has no more depth than before, almost to the point where I'm like, what did they even actually do? It's like literally the tuxedo mask meme, but you didn't do anything. He's just sort of exactly the same. Now, I've had a lot of people argue with me, and I think it's Stockholm Syndrome at this point. A lot of Trickster players saying he's got so much more depth now. And I don't think he has any more depth. I think he is exactly the same as he used to be, except now you get dopamine hits with a rank up thing. So the way I can exemplify how I don't think he's any deeper than he used to be, it's basically, are you doing anything differently than how you used to play the killer? If you're not changing your gameplay in any way, he's not deeper. Now, you're getting bonuses for doing things that you were already doing. Like if you're a Trickster player and you know, hey, I get bonus rank points for hitting shots through tiny holes in walls and stuff like that, or doing long range shots and stuff like that. But if you're an avid Trickster player, you're already doing those things because it's cool to do and it's fun. You're already trying to do that. You're not being a 100-hour Trickster player and just back revving people with knives 1 foot away every time. You're going for these shots already. So my point is, if you're already doing these things, you're not changing your gameplay at all to benefit more from this rank system. You're just doing the exact same thing you've been doing. You just get a nice, pat on the back for doing it now, which is cool, but that's not depth. That's dopamine to something you're already doing. So I wanted to just clarify my opinion on that. It's no deeper than what you're already doing. The only thing I can actually think of that's deeper is when you get to S rank, you have to actually make the educated decision of, am I going to stay in S rank in order to maintain my rapid reload speed and my rapid throw speed, or am I going to cash it in for a main event to just commit to this one down right here? That's like the only decision you have to make, but that's not very deep. That's a pretty easy decision to make. Like, that's not, my crazy depth now. It's like, dude, that's one decision you got to make like every 2 minutes or something like that. Not a huge deal there. So he doesn't feel any deeper at all. It just feels like they gave some nice dopamine to people that already enjoy playing Trickster, which is fine. But the problem is he's weaker than before now. It would be fine if they just gave those dopamine hits and then that was it, and he's just kind of plays the same. But they actually genuinely made him weaker, in my opinion. Again, I'm not an avid Trickster main. I've talked to a couple of people that are really good at Trickster, and they agree that he's nerfed. But there's a couple people that think he's been buffed too, so this is not a concrete fact or anything like that. It's just my opinion. But I'm going to go over why I think he's nerfed. I think the amount of changes he got towards the negative far outweigh what he got to the positive. And it entirely is an issue of speed. He is just slower than before in all aspects. So he was reverted to 110% movement speed. So he now moves 5% slower base kit, which is awful when it comes down to just chasing people in a line. It takes so much longer to catch up when you're 110 versus 115. So that's already terrible. On top of that, when he readies his knives and holds it, he moves slower than before. So he's base kit slower and now even slower while holding the knife. Now, when he starts throwing knives, he slows down even further. So there are 3 stages of slowdown that are happening now. It feels so bad. And here's the main reason. The main counterplay to Trickster is holding forward and, wiggling a bit to dodge knives when you're in the open and making sure there's as much shit as possible to obstruct line of sight while still maintaining distance. You don't loop him in the same way like you loop a Huntress, because with Huntress, you're like, okay, he's committing to the throw and I dodged it. Now I go somewhere else. With Trickster, he's always throwing something. So you're always just holding forward. It's not very exciting gameplay. That's why no one really likes going against Trickster. But that's what the counterplay actually was. The problem is, all they did was make the main counterplay to Trickster even stronger because he's slower base kit, he's slower while throwing, and he's even slower while consecutive throwing. So there's 3 speed nerfs, and all that does is make his main weakness even weaker. So they haven't really addressed the issue of his strength at all. He's been made worse now because the main counterplay to him is even stronger than it used to be. Now, there are a couple of things that he got that are buffs, like, for example, the faster reload and the faster knife throw speed while he's ranking up is really nice, and that feels really great. But then also, he's been neutered in a lot of other areas. For example, he can't use main event near hooks anymore. That was like the one thing at a high level that made Trickster actually pretty scary, because if a Trickster got you in the basement, you're kind of fucking dead. There's really no saving against a main event primed Trickster. That is basically as scary as saving against like a Bubba in the basement. He's going to probably kill everybody there. You basically have to force a locker. You have to do something very drastic to get out of that position. But he can't even do that anymore. And again, I know that's not exactly thrilling gameplay, just, you know, proxy camping near a hook and using main event, but it was also one of the only things that made him significantly a massive threat in, you know, a particular area. So taking that away feels pretty shitty when he didn't really get that much in compensation for it. So things like that just make him like, they've just neutered his speed, they've neutered his lethality when it comes to snowballing and things like that. He has less knives than before too, and although he does take less lacerations, it also makes main event significantly harder to actually charge because you need to get to S tier, which takes way longer to actually get to that than the old main event, which was just hit 8 knives and you got main event. So it's harder to get to main event. Main event can't be used all the time when you want it. He moves much slower, and he got a couple of concessions. Overall, I feel like he's weaker. Again, I do need to reiterate, this is from testing him on his own map. I can imagine on, like, you know, Blood Lodge or something like that with a lot of low loops that he can throw over, he's going to feel a lot stronger, but that's true of the current Trickster. That's already the case. So it doesn't really change much of anything, but I will admit, playing him on this map made my opinion of him probably lower than it should be, because like I said, he is not good on this map. This outdoor market section is the only section where you can actually throw over most loops and be fine. There's a couple of shitty pallets in the back streets, but for the most part, this is like the only part of the map where he can actually be pretty strong. And like I said, big wide open maps, he's going to be a lot stronger, just like old Trickster. But like I said, there's no difference between that and the current Trickster. They're just the same thing. So I just wanted to make a note there that my opinion of him is probably a bit lower than it should be because this map is not good for him at all. But other than that, I don't really think it's not, again, they didn't say it's a rework. I'm not going to misquote them. They said it's an update. I don't think the update was good. I think it actually nerfed the killer while not adding any additional depth. And I think people that think that he is deeper are just basically getting shiny toy in front of them, dopamine hits, and thinking that is now deeper or something like that. And when it really is not. Again, just my opinion. I'm not saying any of this is fact. That's just what I think. I'm definitely disappointed with it. They also didn't address anything about going against Trickster. Going against them is exactly as boring as it always been. You can make more distance now holding forward, but that's not fun for Survivor either. Just holding W is not fun. It's effective, but very boring. So they didn't really address anything, really. I don't know. It's just, overall, this seems like kind of a failure. The map itself, an absolute triumph of art design and detail and care. Absolutely incredible. In terms of playing on it, it could be better, but it's not an abomination or anything like that. It's fine. It's a worthy addition to the game. That's fine. But overall, Trickster, not so good. But that's it. That is basically the final summary for everything in the patch. Curious to hear what you guys think. Thanks for watching. See you next time.